What?
Hey everybody, I just wanted to let everybody know I intended on having this video out right after the shad fishing video came out. I was going to try to post it the next day, but I was having some computer issues and was unable to get it edited out. So anyhow, I'm going to go ahead and just post it anyhow. All right, thanks everybody.
Okay.
How's everybody doing? I just wanted to go over my shad fishing setup. I was going to put it in the last video, but it would have just gotten way too long. I had so much footage from the shad fishing trip up to Bonneville, and really had to edit that down a lot. I mean, it could have been a couple hours long easily, but the beauty of shad is that you really don't need an expensive outfit to go out there and catch them. You catch shad on a 7-foot trout rod. When I was fishing the other day up at Bonneville, this was the main rod that I was using, and partly was I had watched some of Jacob's videos, so even though I had never fished at Bonneville, watching his videos, I kind of got an idea of what the water conditions were going to be like, and I knew we were going to be up on that rock having to hoist fish up. So I actually wanted just a little bit longer rod, so I went with an 8.5 footer, and that was just so that I could reach out over the rock to be able to kind of control those fish, to keep them away. The shorter the rod, the less control you're going to have over them. And you know, if that's what you want, because you want to do it for the fun of it, that's perfectly okay. There was plenty of people out there fishing with smaller rods. This is an older Lamaglass that's probably not available anymore. I would say this is probably at least a 25-year-old fishing rod, but it's a Northwest Special. It's a 8.5 foot medium heavy. It is a 2-piece casting rod. And I've had this for quite a long time. I don't even remember where I got it, but that day I had it paired up with this Abu Garcia Black Max casting reel. This is a fairly inexpensive reel, new. I think they're about $60, maybe 65 bucks now. It's not a bad little reel. It's you know, it's definitely not going to be you know, up there with the high-end Shimanos and Daiwas and whatnot, but for what I'm using it for, it works very well. This is P line, and I don't remember exactly which P line it is. I spooled it on there quite a while ago, but I'm pretty sure this is 12 pound. It's possibly 14 pound, but anyhow, that's, you know, it's not super important on your main line. You know, I wouldn't go too heavy, but I think somewhere in that 12 to 14 pound, you know, mono or, you know, some type of copolymer line. That is what I would use. That doesn't necessarily mean that that's the only way you can do it. So starting out on my main line, I like to use a snap swivel, and I like a fairly large snap swivel. I think this is I believe that's a size 7. Don't quote me on that, but it's a little bit bigger. And the reason is because I'm going to open up that snap, and it just makes it easier. I'll show you how we do that later, but anyway, I like to attach that with the snap swivel on the main line, but I'm going through the eye of the barrel swivel, not the snap itself, but through the barrel. And I'm going to use a Palomar knot to attach that. So I'm not going to really show how to do the knots because there's so many videos out there on knots, but this Palomar knot is a very strong knot. It's pretty simple to tie. So that's the first knot that I like to do. I'm going to clip my little tag end off. You can leave a little extra there, but generally that knot won't slip. One of the things about shad that a lot of people, and this is debatable, again, this might just be my opinion, not necessarily science, but shad can actually be a little bit leader shy, generally. Not all the time, and you know, sometimes it doesn't matter, but I like to stick with like an 8-pound line for my leader. Any bigger, I just don't feel that it's necessary. Any smaller, same thing. It's just not necessary. Like I like that 8-10 pound, you know, small diameter line. I have noticed in the past that I was using some pretty heavy line and wasn't getting bit very well. And this was in the Willamette, so it's a little different fishery, but I actually went down in lines or leader line size and started catching fish. And I've done that a couple times. So I think there is something to that. Like I said, that's kind of my opinion, but this 8-pound line is pretty strong for those fish. So I like to just pull off, you know, about 36 inches or so. Give yourself a little extra to use, because you know you're gonna shorten that when you're tying it on with your tag ends and you're not. But I've actually got a piece here that I'm gonna use. It's already clipped off. So now we're gonna go to the bottom of the snap, or excuse me, the bottom of the barrel. And here, I like doing a uni knot. Again, you don't have to do the knots that I'm using. You can use any knot you want to. But I like the uni knot because it's a pretty strong knot, but it's not quite as strong as the polymer knot. Again, I'm creating a breaking point, hopefully, instead of losing everything if I was to get snagged up and pull on this. All right, so go ahead and clip that tag end off too. You can leave a little extra there, you know, 3/16 or so. This part's not necessarily gonna matter so much, because anyway, so now to our leader line. Now I was fishing a shad dart. That is a, I think that's a 1/32 ounce shad dart. They make them in some different sizes, but that was just the size I was using. And these are pretty light hooks. I mean, you can straighten that hook out pretty easy on these. I like to attach that with just a plain old fisherman's knot. And again, fisherman's knot is a decent knot, but it's weaker than the uni knot, and it's definitely weaker than the polymer knot. So that if I do hook up this shad dart, like if I get that snagged in some rocks, hopefully I'm just gonna break that portion off. I'm not gonna break off, you know, my lead and all that, but it's a regular old fisherman's knot. You can do an improved, but like I said, you're kind of trying to engineer that to break. So not on the fish. It's plenty strong enough for a fish, or at least for the shad. Clip that pretty close. So that's pretty much the setup there. Now, coming back up the line to the snap on the swivel, I'm gonna go ahead and open that, and that's where we're gonna attach our lead. I like to use a slinky weight when I'm around rocky areas. This is pretty old school 1990s technology here. I don't see people using these a lot anymore. I'm not sure why that is. Now generally up there where we were fishing, it seems like that 1 ounce to about 2 ounces in there, depending on your line and everything else that you're using. That's, you know, what you would probably want to fish up there, but that can change from time to time. So it might take a little bit of experimenting. So if you're not getting bites, you might try going heavier. If you're getting hung up too much, you'd probably want to lighten that up. So that is literally ready to go. These, where are they? Oh. These shad darts is what I was using the entire time. There's definitely other baits that work just fine. Now sometimes you can take these little chartreuse grubs and you can put them on if you want to. It didn't seem to matter this trip. I think that day we were up there, you didn't have to have anything fancy to catch them. I mean, literally, like, shad will bite just a bare hook. I've seen people where they're using literally just silver, gold bare hooks, and that is a known fact that they will bite that. You know, it just depends. Like, some days are going to be different than others. You know, it just depends on what they want that day. So, I mean, there's different colors of shad darts, red and white. I've caught them on that. These are the bigger ones, you know, pink and white. Seems like anything in like that pink, red, green, chartreuse, that seems to be the primary colors. But you can even cast little spinner, or not spinners. I said it again. Keep saying spinners. But any of these little spoons, little casting spoons that you would use for like trout, I've caught them on those. You know, same thing, kind of similar colors like the gold and bronze, you know, bronze, silver. I've caught them quite a few on these little. These are little Dick Knight spoons. That's just a silver and chartreuse. I've caught quite a few on those in the past. But there's all kinds of stuff. Like, I know Jake was catching, let me see here. I don't have a whole lot of this type of fishing gear because I don't crappie fish a whole lot, but like little tubes, like crappie jig tubes, crappie jigs, that would catch them. So you can experiment with that a little bit. You know, there's really no right or wrong to this. I mean, if you start catching fish and it works, hey, you know, you figured it out. You don't have to do exactly what everybody else does. So, you know, this little green jig head, stuff like that. I just fish the shad darts because that's just kind of what I'm used to, and it works for me. So I just kind of stick with it, you know. That gives you a pretty basic idea of how to rig from the bank. Again, you don't have to use the slinky weights. You can use a regular bank sinker, you know, this style. Generally with these, you wouldn't just clip it right to the snap. You would take a little short section of fishing line, about 6 inches or so. Again, probably that 8-pound, because if this gets hung up, you want it to be able to break off and not take your whole rig with it. So maybe even a 6-pound, but you would tie that to the snap, the line, and then make a loop and tie this on. You know, there's, again, you know, the different sinkers out there. You could use like the little teardrop bank casters that have like the little metal hoop on them, or little metal loop. You can clip those on to the snap swivel. I think that's kind of what Jake was using in the video. Yeah, that's the basic setup. Like I say, I wanted to put this in the last video and just didn't get a chance to. But anyhow, if you guys have any questions, just leave it in the comments below. I'll try to do my best to answer them. Yeah, hope you guys have a great day, and I hope to see you guys out there.